the man who prepared a blueprint for this Vidhana Sauda, the man who brought Bangalore as a capital city, and the man who made Bangalore as a city of industries. And not only that, he made a bigger achievement as in various capacity. Now I'm talking about K.C. Reddy, who happens to be the first Chief Minister of the state. And today, in fact, it is her 119th birth anniversary. On behalf of you all, I pay my humble tributes to K.C. Reddy, sir. Well, coming today, I am here to tell something very interesting, the untold stories regarding K.C. Reddy. See, there are two aspects which I want to deal. The one is the K.C. Reddy book, and the second one is the statue, how the statue evolved in Vidhana Sauda. When we talk about the first, Ravindra Reddy, Ravindra, he happens to be an author. The first book which was released during the S.M. Krishna tenure, and he was being tutored by GNANASHAKHER, who happens to be the guide for him, and he did his MPhil. Mr. Ravi, who happens to be the author of the first edition of the first Chief Minister during the tenure of S.M. Krishna. And moreover, the presiding officer then Venkatappa played a very important role. A program was arranged, and the first of its kind, the book was released after 60 long years. Then the Shiv Shankar Reddy in 2014, a full-fledged advanced research was done on the K.C. Reddy, that was also released. And the third book was also released by H.D. Kumaraswamy in Adi Chunchani but recently, when he was the Chief Minister. This is the one part of the story. And the other part of the story, when the first book was released, the granddaughter-in-law Srimati Vasanta Kavita was so inspired to see that a statue is a must. And there was a movement from the people and from the public, and together it crystallized to see the plans are there. And then the Home Minister was very active in this, Sri Ramalinga Reddy, and others particularly, unitedly they made an effort. And not more than that, the Vasanta Kavita had played a very crucial role in establishing the statue. The statue, which is presently laid in near Vidhana Sauda, the credit goes to Srimati Vasanta Kavita and the entire faculty on the entire administration during then also. This is one part of the story. And the author himself had written 3 books. Ravindra, I told you, Mr. Ravindra. The next part, the most interesting aspect when we talk about this K.C. Reddy sir, when we recollect this, is the concept of responsible government came from the K.C. Reddy sir. When I talk about the responsible government, I had to mention the Mysore Cello. When we talk about the Mysore Cello, there was a slogan, there was a big slogan that is what is called Arcot, Boycott, then again Tambu Chetti, Chatta Katti, K.C. Reddy, Patta Katti. And this was a slogan in the entire Mysore province. And what happened is that the Mysore Cello, when it started in the Mysore Cello, then the JCRW, the Diwan and the Tambu Chetti, where it was under the Prince administration. When we got the freedom, here in our country, in our state, we didn't get that much of freedom. The flag was hoisted, the national flag was hoisted everywhere in the country. And in August 28, this year, JCRW imposed a blanket on the media not to cover this Satyagraha event. Then again in 1947, the KCR September 1st, he was declared as a public authority. Under the movement started. And he showed the responsibility that nobody can stop the Satyagraha movement. And that was a clarion call given by the Congress. Then there was a proposal to have a big gathering at Mysore, and the program was fixed on September 4th, 1949, and again September 11th, and it reached to Mysore. Then what happened? There was a clarion call. The palace Satyagraha was proposed to be there, and he toured the entire Mysore region and awakened the people regarding the need of establishment of responsible government. Almost from every sector of the society, the KCR Reddy's proposal was welcomed, and the decision was supported by the traders, by the stakeholders, and even by the neighboring states like by Madras, Punjab, and other DCC presidents also. And then the Satyagraha, the call was given, and the support poured in from everywhere, and you might have seen that immediately a responsible government was a purpose that was announced. Then later on, you see that the Congress postponed because there was a food crisis, And the non-Congress also, on parallel, they also expressed a deep anger, but they could not take this kind of protest because of the fear of the people. And next one, there was a slogan, as I told you, arcot, boycott, arcot, follow, shame, dikara, arcot follows. These were the slogans being done. Then in September 1947, the students, it turned into a big movement. And later on, the huge rally was there, and Keshwa Iyengar, under the Keshwa Iyengar in Mysore, especially it crisscrossed the entire, not only in Mysore, in entire district of Bangalore also. Then later on, KC arrived. He arrived at the place. He unveiled the national flag, and he gave a clarion call. And again, he started the Satyagraha movement should be there, and he requested the people to participate in a bigger strength. And again, in Bannappa Park came, the entire India became freedom, but as a flag was not hoisted here in Mysore. And that really provoked them, and later on they said that the Mysore king JCRW had refused to hoist the national flag, and that was really it brought a great worth on the people of the state. And as a spectacular gathering was there in the Mysore, and addressing the gathering, and he was so influenced, KC Reddy was so influenced by the Gandhism, the do and die. Then later on, what happened is that slogans were there, and the movement was there. There was a need of responsible government. That was a insistent demand, and what happened is that this was to be achieved at any cost, and the KC Reddy was never dented by any kind of threat or any kind of obstacles. And later on, he said that we will go to the Satyagraha, we will do the Satyagraha. But in one thing, what happened is that he won the. What happened is that the king won the dispute because he could not hoist the national flag, even though the entire country became the freedom. Then what happened? They had 4 demands. Under Mysore Chalo, they had 4 demands. One is the Mysore kingdom must immediately declare a responsible government. In order to declare until an executive government should be formed, therefore a temporary council of ministers should be formed, and both the houses should be elected by the people of the Mysore itself. And next one, free all the political prisoners. And there was a beautiful slogan that was airing across the state: Arcot, boycott, Tambu Chatti, Chattakatti, KC Reddy, Pattakatti. Then again in August 1947, there was imposed restrictions, stopped all the newspapers. Then the national media also expressed their great support, and they supported, and there was a lot of correspondence between KCR as well as the princely state. Then finally it could not be happened, and the KC Reddy was arrested before a day of September 4th. Then he was kept in the prison. Then later on, senior leaders were there: Siddhalingaya, A.G. Ramchandra, Bhashyam, Chinaya, and K.R. Madhav. And they were all arrested. They were kept in Bangalore. In Bangalore, and this only action was despite of all this, he had a great commitment. In 1947, even in Chickpete, Congress workers were arrested, and later on, Srimati Sarojama, who happens to be the wife of KC Reddy also, she also participated. She got hurt then in the central police station, and the lathi charge was there, and she was also hurt in the head, and many died in Golibar. And this shows that her wife also had a commitment. And finally, what happened is that there was a big revolt, and the entire mass, it may be students, it may be youths, or it may be lawyers, they completely started the movement from across the state. There were many different kinds of protests. The railway lanes were plugged up, the railway lanes were damaged, the property of the railway property was damaged, the government property was damaged, and more or less many things were there. But again, the king had to impose certain restrictions, and he imposed lathi charge and Golibar, and again it became a very unpopular measure. And there was a secret radio where the information was flowing from Bangalore city. Entire political movement gathered. A lot of political movement was gathered there, and then Inkalblad, then Vishwa Karnataka, Kesari. Some of the newspapers were also imposed to be, there certain restrictions were imposed. And overall in this Mysore Chalo, 25 people died. And in Shumaka particularly, 12 women were arrested, and women played a very significant role in this. And later on, KC Reddy, he was released from the Chikmagalur jail, and he had to come up. Then again on 5th September, that is JCRW, there was a demand on responsible government. After demand on a responsible government, the talks were held. After the talks were held, the king declared that responsible government will be formed on September 9th. They tried to convince the KC Reddy, but it could not happen. And 15 September, later on, what happened is that ultimately a responsible government was declared by the Honorable King, then JCRW. That means this gives a whole space of how the Mysore Chalo was very significant. And today it happens to be his birth anniversary, and this is what an untold story. The editorial inputs is Srimati S. Kavita, Rajya Dharma editor, Mysore, and it is guided by Vasanta Kavita. This is GNANASHAKHER, Parliamentary Guide. Thank you very much.